Well, Yvonne, this has been quite a long-running saga here in the UK. Rishi Sunak's government had been under pressure for some time to address these bullying complaints made against Dominic Raab by former civil servants. So it set up an inquiry some months ago. We understand it looked at 8 formal complaints involving about 24 people. It conducted extensive interviews over 2.5 days, and just 24 hours ago, that inquiry concluded. It handed its report to the British Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak. It's a 48-page document. It's very dense, but what it did find was that Dominic Raab, during his time as the Justice Secretary, that he spoke to his staff in a way that was insulting, humiliating, that he was often aggressive, that he worked very long hours, that he described some of their work as woeful and utterly useless. But it did also say that it didn't seem that Dominic Raab intended to do this, that he didn't target just one person. The Deputy Prime Minister had said that if this inquiry found any evidence of bullying, he would stand down, and that's how we find ourselves where we are right now.
And what did Dominic Raab say in his resignation letter?
In his resignation letter, he said he found it to be very important that he keep his word, that he stand down because there was evidence of bullying. He also apologised to some of the staff that he worked with, but it wasn't that clean and simple. In fact, he said he found some of these findings very concerning, that it constituted a very low bar for bullying, and in fact it set a dangerous precedent in government that ministers couldn't give frank and fearless feedback to their staff. So he stepped down from that role in government, stepped down from his role as Deputy Prime Minister, but he certainly leaves a bit of a mess for Rishi Sunak and his government.
Well, indeed, the Prime Minister has been under pressure to explain what he knew about the allegations before reappointing Mr Raab to the Cabinet. How damaging really is this for Rishi Sunak?
Rishi Sunak and Dominic Raab were close allies. They'd worked together for a long time. In fact, we heard from the Prime Minister. He issued a statement where he said it was with deep sadness that he would see Dominic Raab go. But we just heard a little earlier from the opposition leader, Keir Starmer, talking about weakness, and this issue speaks to a broader political rhetoric which we're hearing here in the UK, that Rishi Sunak isn't aggressive enough, that he isn't assertive enough, that he hasn't got a hold of his staff, that he doesn't act decisively, that he doesn't act fast enough. So this issue speaks to all of those problems that are being raised in the British media, that the opposition are putting forward, that the Liberal Democrats are putting forward, saying that Rishi Sunak is not strong enough to lead.
And Isabella, who will likely replace Dominic Raab as Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister?
There's quite a few names being put forward, Yvonne, as who will replace Dominic Raab as Justice Secretary. It looks like the front runner is the current Attorney General, Victoria Prentice, but there are a number of other names floating around. And as for Deputy Prime Minister, well, there's not really an obvious choice at this point. So you can imagine there's quite a lot of backdoor meetings going on as some of those Tory MPs try and firm themselves up to be the next Deputy Prime Minister.
Isabella Higgins in London, thank you for updating us.